Alright, y'all, welcome back to another video, man. We had a crazy week. Alright, but I'm back with the week 14 playoffs, or, well, now week 15 playoffs. What week are we in? I don't even remember. But, no, I do remember. That's a lie. Alright, it was a crazy week. We had one team clinch a playoff berth and one team get eliminated. The 49ers, they clinched their spot in the playoffs. We don't know where they will be seated at, but we know where but we know one team who will be playing in January, who at least have one game. And the Patriots, we already know that they're going to be a team that don't have no game in January because they just got eliminated last week. Even after a win, they got eliminated. Clap it up. Yeah. But let's go over this now. In the AFC, you got the Ravens at number 1 with a 10-3 record as they beat the Rams on a walk-off touchdown in overtime on the punt return. And then at number 2, you got the Miami Dolphins with a 9-4 record. Yeah. They just lost to the Titans last night. They had a 14-point lead with like 5 minutes left, and they lost. So yeah, they probably hindered themselves. And that was against an AFC opponent. So that helps the Ravens out. And then at 3, you got the Chiefs with an 8-5 record. Classic game against the Bills like always, but couldn't get the job done. So they're 8-5 at number 3. And the Chiefs, they could be number 2 right now if they beat the Bills, but they're not. And then at 4, you got the Jaguars with an 8-5 record. Solid. And then at 5, you got the Browns with an 8-5 record who just beat the Jaguars. So the Jaguars, y'all better win your division. Then at 6, you got the Steelers with the 7-6 record. They got kicked out of the playoffs, but since the Jets beat the Texans, Steelers are now back in control of a playoff spot. And then at 7, you got the Colts with a 7-6 record. In the NFC, at 1, for now, you got the 49ers with a 10-3 record after beating Seattle. And since the Eagles lost, the Eagles move back into the wild card because now the Cowboys take over that division, and the 49ers beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. So that's good for the 49ers. They have 2 tiebreakers over both the NFC East frontrunners. At 2, you got the Cowboys with the 10-3 record. At 3, you have the Lions with the 9-4 record who lost to the Bears. And at 4, you got the Buccaneers with the 6-7 record because the NFC South sucks. At 5, you got the Eagles with the 10-3 record. At 6, you got the Vikings with the 7-6 record after winning a great, phenomenal, high-scoring game, 3-0. Piece of garbage. And then at 7, you got the Packers with the 6-7 record. Y'all lost to the Giants. We play the Giants this week, and I'm going to that game, and we're going to beat them. But yeah, now let's go over the next games. Like, who does the top teams play next? So the Ravens, their next game will be at the Jaguars. This is a clutch game for the Ravens to win. If the Ravens beat the Jaguars, not only will they have a head-to-head tiebreaker over Jacksonville, but that would give them an AFC win, which is what they need. Dolphins, their next game will be at home versus the Jets. These 2 teams played before, but back then it was Tim Boyle. Now it might be Trevor Siemian. I don't know. The Dolphins are probably going to win that game, so they don't really have anything to worry about there. At least I think, maybe. The Chiefs, their next game is at the Patriots. They should win that game, but we'll see. Honestly, if you're the Patriots, you might want to lose to the Chiefs so you can get a high draft pick at this point. And we'll go over draft picks later. Then the Jaguars, their next game is at home versus the Ravens. We discussed the Jaguars. They also need to win this game. Both teams need to win. And then at 5, or I don't know what I just said, but then the Browns, their next game is at home versus the Bears, a game the Browns should win. Joe Flacco versus Justin Fields, god-awful matchup. But hey, Joe Flacco's been doing his thing. Then the number 6 Steelers, next game is at the Colts. And this is big because the Colts are actually the 7th seed. So if the Steelers win this game, then they can have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Colts. But speaking of that, the Colts' next game is at home against the Steelers, team we just talked about. This is even more bigger for the Colts. Because then if you win this game, you take over the number 6 seed. Because of that head-to-head tiebreaker over the Steelers. Alright, then now let's go to the on the bubble / in the hunt teams. At 8, the Texans. Their next game is at the Titans. Titans coming off of a huge win over the Dolphins. But the Texans coming to town. Will CJ Stroud be ready? Who knows? But this is the game that the Texans have to win to try to get back into the playoffs. Then at 9, the Broncos' next game is at the Lions. It's going to be a tough game, but I think the Broncos can win this game. We'll see. Then at 10, the Bengals' next game will be at home versus the Vikings, a winnable game. The Vikings just won a game by scoring 3 points. Come on now. Don't lose this game, Cincy. I don't care if you have Jake Browning. Justin Jefferson, he came back, just got hurt on like the first drive, bro. Alright, then the Bills, their next game is at home versus the Cowboys. That's going to be a tough game to win, but the Bills, y'all need to win this game. At 12, the Chargers' next game will be at the Raiders, a game that Chargers, I guess, need to win, but it's going to be tough for them to make it into the playoffs, but we'll see. The Raiders, their next game is at home versus the Chargers. We just said, like, the Raiders, I don't think they're going nowhere, though. And then the Jets, their next game is at the Dolphins. They're already dead. I'm surprised that they have not been eliminated yet. Now let's go to the NFC. 49ers. They already clinched a playoff spot. They don't got to worry about nothing. Their next game is at the Cardinals. A game that they should win. I know divisional games be tough. But not against Cardinals. If you're the 49ers. Cowboys, their next game is at the Bills. A game that the Cowboys, if they want to take control of that NFC East, they got to win this game. Then the Lions, their next game is versus the Broncos. Winnable game, but the Broncos, they've been playing some tough football lately, so let's see there. And then the Buccaneers, their next game is at the Packers. It's a winnable game, but we'll have to see. Both teams have not been playing good, or did not have, well, the Buccaneers, no, never mind. Eagles, their next game is at the Seahawks. This is a winnable game. Eagles have to win. If they want to have a chance to get back to number 1 in their division, they have to win this game. The Vikings, their next game is at the Bengals. It's going to be a tough game to win in Cincy. We'll have to see. Packers' next game is versus the Buccaneers. We already said. Winnable game, but Now, in the hunt teams, the Rams' next game is versus the Commanders. A game that they can win. And theoretically should win. Then the Seahawks, their next game versus the Eagles. I said this with the Rams, and hey, it nearly worked. Try to have a pulse. Then the Falcons, their next game is at the Panthers, a game that they should win, but they're the Falcons. Come on now. Then my Saints, we're currently the 11th seed, but my Saints. Our next game is versus the Giants in the Dome. We need to win this game. F the Giants. Next, the Bears. Their next game is at the Browns. Y'all are dead. Y'all are already dead. But, yeah. Now let's go on to this one. paper. Hold on, let me get the paper because I have like multiple paper. All right, now let's go over the strength of schedules on who plays who. The Ravens, their toughest opponents are the 49ers, Dolphins, Jaguars, Steelers. That's their entire schedule. 49ers, it's going to be tough. Dolphins, I think they can win, but it's going to be a tough one. Jaguars and Steelers is iffy. Vikings, the second toughest schedule is the Vikings. Their toughest opponents, they have to play the Lions twice, the Bengals, and the Packers. I think they can beat the Packers, but you need to score more than 3 points to do that, probably. Then at 3, you got the Cardinals. Their toughest opponents are the Eagles and 49ers. Their easiest opponents are the Bears and Seahawks. We'll have to see. At 4, you got the Commanders. Their toughest opponents are the 49ers and the Cowboys. Their easiest are the Jets and the Rams. We got to see about that. At 5, you got the Lions. Their toughest matchups are the Cowboys and the Vikings twice. They play the Vikings twice. And the Broncos. And then at 6, you got the Giants. Their toughest remaining games are the Eagles twice. That's it. Then their easiest remaining games are the Rams and Saints. The Saints game won't be easy come Sunday. At 7, you got the Titans. Their toughest games are the Jaguars, and they play the Texans twice. And their easiest game is against the Seahawks. We have to see about that. We have to see what happens there. Number 8 is the Steelers. Their toughest opponents are the Ravens, Bengals, and Colts. Their easiest opponent is the Seahawks. You gotta see. At 9, you got the Bengals. Their toughest opponents are the Chiefs, Browns, Vikings, and Steelers. Once again, that's their entire schedule. Damn, the AFC North got rough. At 10, you got the Cowboys. Their toughest remaining schedule is versus the Dolphins, Lions, and Bills, and their easiest game is the Commanders at the end of the season, but that's a divisional game. Then at 11, you got the Dolphins. Their toughest games are games against the Cowboys, Ravens, and the Bills. Hot take, that Bills-Dolphins Week 18 game will be for the AFC East. But their easiest game is against the Jets. They're the Jets. You should walk them like you did last time. Then at 12, you got the Bills. Their toughest games are the Cowboys and the Dolphins. And their easiest games are the Patriots, Chargers. But hey, they lost to the Patriots once before. Try not to lose to them again. Rojo will be frauds. I don't even know if you can call them frauds no more because they're like, what, 10th, 11th seed in the AFC? Then at 13, you got the Patriots. Their toughest games are the Chiefs, Bills, and Broncos. And their easiest game is against the Jets. Alright. Now, we're going to the easiest schedules. At 16, because no one cares about 14 and 15. At 16, you got the Panthers. Their toughest schedule, or their toughest games is against the Jaguars and Packers. Their easiest games are Buccaneers, Falcons. They only have to play their division for their easy games. But because everybody in the NFC South is almost an easy win. At 17, you got the Colts. Their toughest schedule, or their toughest games are games against the Steelers, and the Texans. Their easiest games are against the Raiders and Falcons. We gotta see what happens in those games, but yeah. At 18, you got the Jets. Their toughest games are games against the Dolphins and the Browns, and their easiest games are Patriots, Commanders. Jets are essentially out of it, but who knows. Then at 19, you got the Seahawks. Their toughest games are against the Eagles and Steelers, and their easiest games are Cardinals, Titans. We gotta see. At 20, you got the team that swept the Seahawks, the Rams. Their toughest games, or they only have one tough game, and that's against the 49ers. Then their easiest games are games against the Commanders, Giants, and Saints. We gotta see what happens there. At 21, you got the Browns. Their toughest games are against the Bengals and the Texans. Their easiest games will be against the Bears and the Jets. At 22, you got the Texans. Their toughest games are against the Browns and Colts. Their easiest games are just playing the Titans twice. All right, then at 23, you got the Bears. Their toughest games are against the Browns and Packers. Their easiest games are against the Cardinals and Falcons. We got to see what happens there. At 24, you got the 49ers. Their toughest games are against the Ravens, and their easiest games are against the Cardinals, Commanders, and Rams. At 25, you got my New Orleans Saints. We don't have a single tough game the rest of the season. We have 4 games remaining, and those 4 games are all easy games. We have to play the Giants, Buccaneers, Rams, and Falcons. We better win all 4 of those. And I think we can. But I don't trust this damn team. Then at 26, you got the Broncos. Their toughest games are against the Lions. And their easiest games are Patriots, Raiders, Chargers. Alright, then at 27, you got the Buccaneers. Their toughest games are against the Jaguars and Packers. Their easiest are Panthers, Saints. Gotta see what happens there. At 28, you got the Jaguars. Their toughest games are Ravens, and their easiest is Panthers, Titans, and Buccaneers. At 29, you got the Chiefs. Their toughest games are Bengals. Are Bengals. And their easiest games are Patriots, Raiders, Chargers. They should win all 3 of those games, but who knows? The Chargers like playing them close. Don't know why. They are division games, I guess. But at 30, you got the Falcons. Their toughest matchups are the Colts, and their easiest games are the Panthers, Bears, and Saints. 2 of those teams the Falcons have already beat. 1 of those teams they should beat, because the Bears suck. At 31, you got the Packers. Their toughest matchups are the Vikings, and their easiest games are games against the Panthers, Bears, and Buccaneers. Then at 32, I'm back. But then the easiest schedule in the NFL remaining is the Eagles, where they don't have a single tough game. Their easiest games are Cardinals, playing the Giants twice, and the Seahawks. So yeah, that's what we're working with there. Now onto this. The NFL draft order, where teams are tanking. The first overall pick currently belongs to the Bears via the Panthers with a 1-12 record. Panthers are on a 6-game losing streak, but they hand the pick over to the Bears for that DJ Moore, Bryce Young trade. The second overall pick is the Patriots with a 3-10 record. They're currently on a 1-game winning streak, if you even want to call it a winning streak, because they just got eliminated. But third overall pick is the Cardinals with a 3-10 record. They're currently on a 1-game winning streak coming off their bye week, so yeah. Then the fourth pick right now belongs to the Commanders with a 4-9 record, as they are on a 4-game losing streak right now. But you know what I find funny? Is that the Cardinals are 3-10, and they still have a chance to make the playoffs. Alright, the fifth overall pick belongs to the Bears with a 5-8 record. They're on a 2-game winning streak, not going to last very longer. But Bears, in fact, you know what happened last time they played the Browns? Do you know? Myles Garrett ate Justin Fields alive for like 9 sacks. But yeah, and then the sixth overall pick right now belongs to the Raiders with a 5-8 record. They're currently on a 3-game losing streak. Yeah. The seventh overall pick right now belongs to the Jets, as they're coming off of a win with a 5-8 record. But the eighth pick belongs to the Giants after winning last night with a 5-8 record. You know, they've obviously won last night, so they're kind of high. And then the ninth pick right now belongs to the Titans with a 5-8 record, another team who won last night, as they beat the Dolphins for that 1-game winning streak. But who knows? The 10th overall pick right now belongs to the Chargers with a 5-8 record. They're currently on a 1-game losing streak. They suck. The 11th pick right now belongs to the Falcons with a 6-7 record. They're currently on a 1-game losing streak. Y'all suck. And then to round out the top 12 draft picks coming up for next year, right now, as of week 15 almost, is going to be the Saints with the 6-7 record. But that's all I got for y'all today. My eyes are kind of wearing out. So, see y'all later. Peace.